Hey, it's Trey J, and today we're on Black Ops, and this is a Dragunov gameplay on Grid. But the main purpose of this video is today the new Call of Duty was announced for um, Xbox One at least, and it's coming out this year, November 4th, 2014. So mark your date on the calendars for that. And it's called Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and we saw the first trailer of it, and it looks pretty freaking sweet. Um, Now, it's really futuristic and stuff like that, which is going to be really cool. And apparently, there's like jetpacks on each soldier, and there's exoskeletons, and stuff like that. And it's kind of reminds me of a lot of Titanfall. And apparently, you can also like mantle walls and stuff like that, just like Titanfall. And so I think that's going to be a really competitive game for Titanfall. And I think Call of Duty realizes how awesome Titanfall was with the futuristic stuff like that. So I think they're implementing it to the next Call of Duty and it should be really awesome. And indeed, it is advanced warfare. There's a bunch of new like mechs and stuff like that. And also, there's a new gun that we saw. It kind of looks like a G36, kind of. The attachments I saw was suppressor, and also it has like this dual holographic sight. I think one of them is like kind of like a cross pattern, and then the other sight on it would be like a little red dot in the middle. So it looks pretty cool. But this is all stuff that I've gotten from the trailer that I've seen that just came out today, and also the main antagonist is, get this, Kevin Spacey. They couldn't have chosen a better actor for this game to be the antagonist than Kevin Spacey. He's obviously the main protagonist on House of Cards, which is a Netflix original series, and yeah, so he's an incredible actor, and I think he's going to be able to portray this villain role that he's playing in this game better than any other any other villain in previous Call of Duties. I mean, some of the top villains that I have always liked throughout the Call of Duties, like Raul Menendez from Black Ops 2, he was a good one. Rourke from Ghost is a good one also, and also some of the ones from Black Ops and like Modern Warfare the series, they were really good villains as well. But I think this villain, this Kevin Spacey villain, is going to be probably the best one of them all. But basically, the story, the setting is going to take place. It's going to take place in the U.S. Some of the fighting is, at least I know, like on one of the parts, there was the Golden Gate Bridge, and it was being attacked. And obviously, that's just kind of the central theme of a lot of these futuristic video games where America is being attacked, because America, kind of is overdue to be attacked. To be honest, a lot of these games they take place in the western part of the United States. Like San Francisco is like the main front hold for the West, pretty much. In a lot of these games, like Homefront and Call of Duty, and all these other games like that. And they kind of what a lot of countries seem to be doing is they seem to be alienating the U.S. like the western part, especially like in Call of Duty Ghosts. This happens in that game too. They alienate the western part of the U.S. from the eastern part, because the eastern part seems to be more fortified. Apparently, there's a much heavier, dense population. Not to mention, there's plenty of U.S. military bases, like large ones, along with Washington D.C., the main epicenter of military operations in the United States. So, a lot of these other countries are attacking, like Korea and South America and all this other stuff. They're attacking the western part, which is less densely populated and easier to take control of. And that's what they're kind of doing. That's what the pattern I've noticed from these games. But yeah, like if you just look right here, this is the Dragunov. This gun was developed, I'm pretty sure in 1949 by the Russians. Obviously, it's made of metal and wood. It's just totally different than the new guns that are going to be in this next game. I just wanted to kind of point that out, how this game is set in the Cold War, but this one's going to be set in the future. Um, Probably it's going to be pretty distant future, considering there's a bunch of cool robots and suits and all that kind of stuff. Um, but anyhow, so that's what they're kind of doing, is they're kind of having that, like, separating the West and the East and stuff like that. Also, it mentions how Kevin Spacey was talking about how the U.S. has kind of like tried to start up these democratic governments in all these other countries, like the Middle East and Central America, places like that, and they kind of have their own little governments that, they didn't really do good in democracy, so to speak. So they kind of just stopped trying to, have their influence there. And basically, Kevin Spacey is he's the leader of he's the leader of this corporation that makes a bunch of military items and goods and stuff like that. and they're the top corporation on the earth. So basically, what they're doing is they're supplying these little militias and armies in each country to stand up to the U.S. Not to mention the also the military that Kevin Spacey has under his own corporation. So they're going to be, that the U.S. is going to be facing all these different armies and factions and stuff like that. So it's going to be a huge uphill battle for the U.S. And it's another one of those Call of Duty games where the U.S. is, has an uphill battle, but they're going to, hopefully succeed. I think the U.S. has always been a good fighting force in Call of Duty. They've always had, Call of Duty's always been good, has had good campaigns and stuff like that. And the U.S. has always been the underdogs, but they seem to come out on top. So I like how, kind of like how Ghosts made up their own story, where South America started to take over the world, which is a really neat concept. I think this concept in this game is also really neat as well. So it should be really interesting what the campaign is going to be, and also how they're going to implement these things from campaign into multiplayer. How awesome would that be? Maybe even a co-op mode. I know there won't be any zombies or any aliens or anything like that, but maybe they'll have like a humans versus robots kind of thing for the co-op mode. So that'll be pretty sweet. But this game's almost over. My friend was playing this. He went 20-8 with the Dragunov, and pretty much we were jacking off with the Dragunov. But yeah, so the next Call of Duty should be pretty sweet. And thanks for watching.